perhaps the most consequential quarterback legal decision we're waiting on is Trinidad Chambliss. Now, I know I made a compelling case in the first segment for the answer to that statement to be Darian Mensah. However, important though Mensah is, I think he's running in second place for overall importance. Because of the way Miami plays and how little they have won games or did win games this past year, including in the playoff, and how little their quarterback often contributed statistically to those wins. If, let's say, some crazy scenario, which I do not anticipate, I think Shamblas will play for Ole Miss. I think Mensah will play for Miami this year. But I'm not a lawyer. That's why I'm here and not working in a real office. That's what I got the home office set up for, which frankly I like better. Anyway, so if that comes to pass, I'd feel better about Miami's chances of getting back to the playoff than Ole Miss. Easily. I don't even know that it would be necessarily that close. Trinidad Chambliss was Superman. The reason I picked Miami to beat them in the national semifinal was that I felt like Miami had a more complete football team. And as I just talked about, Miami is a very complete football team. And they're making the right sorts of moves. And they're not even overly reliant on the portal. They just need to get their quarterback out of there, and they probably will. So Chambliss is the most singularly important player because if he comes back, Ole Miss is in the playoff picture. They're in the playoff picture. But Stephen Willis of Locked On Ole Miss has come on this very show and said, yeah, if they don't have Trinidad Chambliss, hard to see how they make the playoff. It gets harder for Miami. I'm not trying to deny that and saying they're making the playoff no matter what, no matter who is playing quarterback for them. But if you're asking me which team is better suited stylistically and personnel-wise to survive, yeah, the answer is definitely Miami in that conversation. And Shamblas was so good. If he comes back, he will be one of the Heisman favorites. He will shoot up like a rocket ship on the odds boards to win the Heisman Trophy next year because the numbers he can put up in that offense that we saw him put up against some of the best defenses in the country, it wasn't his fault they lost to Miami. Defense was exhausted, first of all, and second of all, they couldn't get a stop. Miami was wearing them down. Miami leaned on him and made the game-winning drive. And heck, Shamblas still almost orchestrated a game-winning drive a la Josh Allen in the playoffs until Mahomes ripped the rug out from underneath him in that incredible divisional game from years ago. He was close to doing that. He could put on the cape. He can be Super Skrull, who's got the combined powers of the Fantastic Four. I'm pretty sure I have that right. There is growing optimism, according to CBS Sports, that Shamblas is going to be granted an injunction to play, or a rule, whatever, that he's going to be able to play. Now, based on what I had heard, I'm a little surprised this hasn't come to fruition already. But the wheels of justice, the gears of justice, they churn a little slowly sometimes. It's in the legal system. It's making its way. Keep an eye on this one, though. Because while I would probably, if Mensah doesn't wind up going to Miami, pick them to miss the playoff, I'd have to think about it. But with Ole Miss, I don't think I would have to think about it. It's just, oh, nope, they're not in the playoff discussion. Okay, well, had a great season, reload, and have the best year you can, try to get ready for 2027. Boy, the spring portal window would go crazy if they still had one. But, of course, they got rid of one. And in this portal window, it's Alberto Mendoza. I don't know how many other national college football shows mentioned since the season has ended that, hey, Georgia Tech just had an awesome season. Hey, Georgia Tech added Justice Haynes from Michigan. That's a perfect fit. But what are they doing at quarterback? What's the plan? There's a collection of young guys in the room who lack experience, have got some talent. One of them's been in the system for the last couple of years. It's a new system of sorts. I imagine it'll be very similar because Brent Keith's still the head coach. But Haynes King out of eligibility. Buster Faulkner goes to Florida, takes Aaron Philo with him. And Alberto Mendoza, who we know wasn't starting at Indiana had he stayed with the Hoosiers since they brought in Josh Hoover from TCU, my favorite quarterback in the portal in this 2026 cycle. Alberto Mendoza is going to Georgia Tech. You know what's fun about this? I think the Georgia Tech quarterback battle is going to be the most exciting thing I've ever covered on this show. And look, there's a world where they play multiple guys. I think Georgia Tech's offensive approach and Brent Key's mindset makes them as capable as anyone of winning with a two-quarterback system. Two of these guys could wind up playing. One guy could get banged up and the other guy has to step in. Philo did a little bit in place of Haynes King when he got injured over the last couple seasons. When you run your quarterback 15 to 20 times a game, he's going to get banged up. So maybe this is a depth move. Maybe they think Mendoza is going to go to Georgia Tech and start. But can you imagine Fernando gets drafted number 1 overall by the Raiders. Alberto goes to Georgia Tech. What if he's got the Yellow Jackets in the position they were in to begin this season? They controlled their own fate to make the college football playoff. They were undefeated. And they stumbled down the stretch because their defense wasn't good enough. Yeah, that's got to improve, no doubt. But, I mean, the name Mendoza now has such a mystique, such a lore, such a gravitas, such moxie to it that I think this becomes one of the most intriguing quarterback battles and no doubt impactful ones. Yeah, Miami's going to be the favorite in the ACC in 2026, especially if Mensa winds up playing quarterback for him. Who's the clear-cut number 2? Because we know it's not going to be Duke, this past year's runner-up. Do you think it's going to be Virginia? I mean, it could be. Do you think it is going to be... I mean, put a team in there. Is Florida State reascending? ACC is pretty open. Is Clemson going to get back? I don't know. People like me believed in Clemson coming into this season. Never making that mistake again. That was just, oof. There was way... We're going to watch April's NFL draft come and go. And we're going to see how many guys from Clemson get selected. And we're going to look around at, as a college football collective fan base and go, Dabo, what in the world were you doing over there? No wonder they made a change at offensive coordinator. I mean, there's way too much talent on that team for them to have been as bad as they were. And yeah, that's the world we live in. And Alberto Mendoza going down to Atlanta. There are worse places to be. Fernando embodied toughness, grittiness, physicality. Brothers often share, like most siblings, a lot of similar traits with each other. Well, I can tell you one thing. If there's one word that embodies a Brent Key quarterback, it's toughness.